Hey there, fellow independent musicians. If you're sneaking a watch of this video while you're on break at Guitar Center or maybe at your local brewery, sorry, too real. But hey, if you're a wealthy stockbroker, this video is probably not for you since you could probably afford any studio you want. This is more for the financially challenged independent musicians such as myself. But hey, so I'm Sean, a music school owner and freelance music producer specializing in on-location recording and remote mixing. You can find more about me in the description below. So here's the deal. As an independent musician, you're probably not dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars making recordings, singles, albums, anything. But you've probably realized by now that the recordings you're getting in your drummer's basement are not the best. So what's the next step? Do you go to a recording studio? You spend all of your money on a fancy place with, $1 million space, millions of dollars of microphones. No, don't do that. That's like renting a Ferrari for your driver's license test or snagging a $900,000 Hughes diamond sports suit for your Guitar Center interview. It's not going to help you get the job. You won't get your license any quicker. Trust me, I've tried. Now, to all you studio owners out there watching, fear not. We've got more to talk about. You're not completely out of the picture just yet. Musicians, listen up. If you're aiming to make a living from your art, it's time to treat your brand like a business, because it is. You have to identify your core value proposition and connect with your fans. And to do that, you can't be blowing all of your money on fancy recording studios that you're not ready for yet. So let's be smart with our money. So what is your core value? It's all about keeping it concise, ensuring your releases match your brand, and most importantly, spending wisely. So, where should that hard-earned cash go? How do you make an album without a fancy studio? Well, there are a couple key areas to invest in at this stage of the game. There are, of course, more ways to monetize and other things to do. But at this stage of the game, you don't have to worry about all of that stuff just yet. Let's focus on two key categories. Your songs. Your songs have to be great. If they're not great, nobody's going to listen to you. Then what are you doing anyway if they're not great? And once you kind of get that going, your brand, meaning your presence and how people envision you when they think of you, has to be on point. And with your brand comes online shareables, like your social profiles, your music videos, anything that people will show their friends after they see you. That needs to be on point. But first, your songs need to be good. So I'm a producer, not a graphic designer, so let's kind of get into the music side of things. All right, I hear you. You're saying, Sean, I know I need to work on my songs. I thought a recording studio would help put the final polish on it. Maybe, but you know the saying, you can't polish a turd. So let's get that turd made into something a little bit nicer before it becomes a turd. Here's the key. You need to invest in people. Not necessarily the space, which is important, but the people. A studio without a great producer or co-writer is like a Michelin star kitchen without its chef. Sure, you can go into a pro Michelin star kitchen with your own food, but the chef, they can only do so much. What you brought them is still craft dinner. And while it's delicious, it's still box pasta with powdered cheese sauce. You're not going to get very far with that. So before you go into the Michelin star restaurant and spend a boatload of money there, let's actually make something worth eating. So what does that look like in music? Co-writers and producers. A top-notch co-writer will probably be able to shape your songs, and guess what? They don't all have or need to use multi-million-dollar microphone setups and huge recording studios to help you get there. A fancy $5,000 microphone is not going to make your lackluster song sound any better, in the same way that driving a $1 million Ferrari is not going to make you a better driver. Nope. Co-writing sessions can happen remotely. You don't have to worry about going to a fancy studio for them. The producer might have Logic Pro open or Pro Tools or piano or guitar in the remote session. In the same way you can do that in person. You go hang out in a room and just kind of write, hang out, have an iPhone recorder open, and that's pretty much it. A session with a skilled co-writer or producer can take your music to the next level, just like a racing coach in theory can help you figure out how to drive your Chevy conversion tour van that you have so cleverly named Vanny DeVito to your next sold-out show at the arcade next to a Walmart. We've all been there. So, even if your home recordings are still not completely pro level, that's okay, because you will be better connecting with your audience with the newly revised songs that you've worked on with the co-writer. And if you've nailed your visual appeal and your online brand and your merch, you'll now be able to get people to start buying your stuff. With that money, you can save up to potentially record at a better studio next time, or level up from your tour food of Taco Bell to maybe something fancy like Arby's or Applebee's. Just as an example that you don't really need a crazy fancy studio or top tier recording gear, think of Bon Iver's breakout album For Emma Forever Ago, which was done with a 58 or a 57, I think, and a Sears catalog guitar from a garage sale, I think. Just basic equipment. The thing was still incredible because the songs were awesome and the performances were awesome. So songs and performance, paramount. You don't need the crazy recording studio or anything like that. So personally, as an artist or producer, I've probably had the most fun at sessions that were sort of on the cheap, on the go, in barns, Airbnbs, dorm room, bathrooms. All of that was a lot more fun, or could be a lot more fun, because you're not necessarily dealing with, every day you're not thinking, oh man, we're spending $1 million today. Not really, but we're spending $1,000 today, which is a lot. Whereas if you're just hanging out with people you like, and working with a great producer or engineer in a space that's not costing you an arm and a leg, you'll be able to focus more on your art. Even though you still should have it worked out before you get there, there then could be more room for creativity and filling in the gaps once your core song is recorded. So yeah, that's kind of what I think about that. There are also some engineers who have great home studios, which is an option. But yeah, man, after getting your songs dialed in, after you finish tracking, I'd also suggest spending money on a mix engineer. Once you have the song crafted and recorded, even if it's in not the perfect environment, it's great to have someone who knows what they're doing, put that song together and assemble it, and make it so that everything you've tried to do can come out and everybody else can hear you and hear it in the way you wanted to hear it. I would plan to spend $300 to $750 per song for a good mix engineer. Total pro engineers can get up to $3,000 a song, maybe even more, but it really depends what you're going for and what type of mix engineer. That about wraps it up. If you think I provided value, please like the video so the algorithm will put it in front of more people such as yourself who may benefit from this sort of discussion. If you have any ideas, comments, put them down below, and I'll talk to you all later.